Well, it's a red Friday across Kansas City. The Chiefs are going to be on Sunday Night Football, taking on the Jets, MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands. And we are happy to welcome on and say hello to Kendall Gammon, of course, our analyst, former player. And this conversation is brought to you by Xfinity, the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now. All right. Have you ever seen something like this, Kendall, where I feel like there's more talk about the player's relationship with a superstar than there is about the game itself?
I have never seen it to this level. No, I have not. And I assume that's all we're going to talk about this morning.
Yeah. Hey, it's fine by me, man. The Swifties are going to love this conversation then, I guess.
Yeah. It is interesting, though, Pete. I mean, I never would have thought, if you'd asked me beforehand, if it would cause this much commotion, this much stir, this much interest, I would have lost that bet. It's been kind of fun, though.
It has been. I agree. I mean, the New York Post yesterday, I saw, had Taylor Swift and the Chiefs and the Jets on the back page again yesterday in New York City. I mean, it's just crazy.
Wow.
Now, for the game itself, everyone's looking at this game and saying, all right, it's more about Taylor Swift because the game's going to be ho-hum. But anytime you think like that, right, I mean, you get into a scary place if you're the Chiefs. So how do they keep – I mean, I know you didn't live through this or play through this because nobody's seen something like this, but how do you keep the Taylor Swift stuff out of the locker room?
Honestly, I don't think it's that big a deal. I think I believe if reports are right, Travis had a little party afterwards and – a lot of people were there. I think it's probably inside the locker room. I would guess it's kind of been normalized a little bit already. And the fact is, you go to work. You know what this is. These guys are professionals, and I know I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But all Big Red has to do is harken back to last year in Indianapolis and playing a team that you think you should beat, and it didn't happen last year. I mean, when you look at it on paper. This game should not be close with what's going on in New York, the QB situation. But that being said, any given Sunday with the cliche, and it'll be interesting. I'm sure NBC is wishing that they could have flexed this game, but they just don't do that this early in the season.
Well, after 24 million people tuned in last week for that Bears blowout because of Taylor Swift, and she's going to be there. So, I mean, I don't know. I think NBC. They might love this thing, Kendall. If they get 30 million people watching to see Taylor Swift, they won't complain about that, right?
You know what? You're right. I stand corrected on that one for sure. And it is amazing. I mean, I love all her songs, and probably there's a lot of songs that I like, and I don't even know it's her singing, so I like that. I wouldn't say I'm a Swiftie per se, and hopefully I won't get backlash. But it is interesting. I kind of like the fact that we're kind of melding two different cultures to a degree.
It's pretty fascinating stuff. So Kendall Gammon, a confirmed Swiftie, even on songs he doesn't realize are Taylor Swift songs. I like that. Go ahead.
I'm assuming as much because if I don't know their songs, then I don't know if it's right or not. But that's what I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's a fair assumption. All right. What do you want to see, Kendall? They blew out the Bears last week. Where do you want to see improvement going into this game on Sunday?
Well, even with Aaron Rodgers being gone and the offense having some issues, I mean, they do have a good running game. They've got the receivers that can do some things. They were built to win this year. The QB is what they needed. That's obviously not going on right now with Zach Wilson. But I'm more interested to see how the offense performs a second consecutive week against a defense in New York that it is pretty good. So this will be a stiffer test. I want to see the offense continue to churn. Get the run game going. I want to see the receivers getting some catches. I want to see the receivers more than just Kelsey getting open when Mahomes gets out of the pocket, because I think that's a big deal. That's when you've seen a lot of big plays from Mahomes over the years, is when he gets out of the pocket and he plays to a degree street ball. And that's not that's not getting on him. That's quite honestly where he really makes a lot of hay, and that's where teams try to do is not let him get out, because that's when he does hurt them. So I'm curious just to see the chemistry continue to build.
I look at a guy who's been a nice surprise early this season, and that is Justin Watson. He doesn't have a touchdown grab, but he's been targeted 12 times already this year. He's got 7 catches. And last year, he's already halfway to his total receiving yards from last year through 3 games. What have you seen from him? Is that just a comfort level with Mahomes, or is there something else?
Well, you know what? I think it is a comfort level. I think Matt Nagy was talking about it yesterday in his press conference. He said there's just a more confidence to him. He feels more comfortable going out there, lining up, reading the defenses and what's going on, and is more on the same page than he has been in the past. And oftentimes that just comes with experience, and that's what he's got now. And the sky's the limit for him. But you talk about him, Rashee Rice. He's got a lot of targets this year, and as a rookie, that's really, really impressive. They talked about that as well. So I think the other thing is just it's a deeper wide receiver group, even though they need the reps to get comfortable with Patrick Mahomes. But I think last week there was 10 different receivers that caught the ball. That's tough for a defense when the ball's getting spread around. It goes back to what Patrick said last year in the offseason when Tyreek left, which is, it's going to be a little bit different this year. You've got to be ready. I'm going to get through the progressions, and you're going to see the ball all over the place. And I think that's what we have seen. That's what we will continue to see, even more so. And that puts the NFL defenses on notice because that's tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Kendall, we touched on this a little bit last week, I believe, but the whole idea of the Chiefs as the Super Bowl champs, the NFL does a great job with parity, giving this team the toughest schedule, or what they thought was the toughest schedule. And now here you are, no Aaron Rodgers. The Vikings are down after being a playoff team last year. The Chargers, not quite sure what they are. The Broncos don't look a whole lot better. I mean, this schedule looks a lot more manageable today than it did 1 month ago. And what does that say about this team, the NFL, and, how the rest of the season might play out for that matter?
Well, the schedule is set, everything's set with the exception of a couple of games, and it depends on how you finish the year before. So the thing is, some of the teams that we expected to be good this year right now are not performing to that level, so the schedule just goes that way. But that's also the beauty of the NFL. I mean, the NFL, sells the past, it sells the present, and it sells the future as well in terms of the hope for teams who maybe weren't good the last year. Then all of a sudden, with the free agency and higher draft picks, they can get right back into it. And this is exactly what the NFL wants to a degree in terms of, parity and teams going up and down and not really knowing what's going on. And I think it's a good thing. The Chiefs just happen to be, quite honestly, when you have the best QB, not only in the game, but I think to ever have played the game in terms of skills and everything. And for those people that are going to bash me about Brady, I get that he's a GOAT and he's won 7, but he can't. He's never done the type of things physically as a QB side of it as Mahomes, and will continue to do. And it's just a special thing. And when you have that, especially in today's age in the NFL, where everything is so built around the QB, the Chiefs just have such a big advantage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so true. Kendall Gammon, it's always good to have him on. Kendall, we'll talk to you Monday morning and let you catch up on your Taylor Swift music going into the weekend. We appreciate the time.
You bet. Take care, Pete.